So I'll rattle off three quick ones. The first is there's still a lot of progress to be made about how candidates are evaluated. The applicant tracking systems that are in place do still heavily rely on traditional credentials to filter and rank candidates. And if we're going to get more success in moving away from the reliance on such things as college degrees or the absence of a criminal record, we're going to have to see that manifested in specific job descriptions, specific hiring programs, and not merely just a policy announcement. The second is that we still have a very big disconnect in terms of the magnitude and availability of work-based learning opportunities, particularly for younger workers. It's a very hard thing to go from high school or a couple of years of community college into a work environment if you haven't had some substantial exposure to work in the past. And while any form of work, working in a quick service restaurant or scooping ice cream or as a lifeguard at a pool is helpful, really having work in a workplace like that you're aspiring to start your career is the gold standard. And we don't have nearly enough opportunities for paid work-based learning for high school students as part of completing their diploma, not as seasonal summer work, and for community college students and even those enrolled in four-year schools. A final thing is we still have a big issue around the affordability and liquidity available to gain skills. So we've been waiting for a revisitation leading to a reauthorization of the Higher Education Act for some time. It seems to be constantly on the not this year, not this year, not this year schedule, overhauling the funding mechanisms in Title IV to include competency-based learning, career and technical education, education provided by non-accredited institutions, education provided with less than 100 seat hours. There are a whole thicket of rules and regulations rooted in the four-year college degree experience as defined over the last 30 years that apply to the entire breadth of application of federal loans and grants. That is the key source of liquidity, cash liquidity in the system. And we were going to need to marshal the efforts of a wide array of people from different constituency when that finally comes about, that reauthorization finally comes about, to really advocate strongly for broad-based reform, because the forces of inertia are great and powerful and have a lot of interests in the game. But I think our interests as an economy and as a society really demand us to revisit some of those fundamental assumptions and have a federal funding mechanism that responds to today's workforce, not the logic of the workforce in the 70s and 80s.